Narrated Ubadah bin as-Samit, who took part in the Battle of Badr and was a Naqib, a person heading a group of 6 persons. On the night of Al-Aqaba pledge, Allah's apostle said while a group of his companions were around him, "Swear allegiance to me for 1. Not to join anything in worship along with Allah. 2. Not to steal. 3. Not to commit illegal sexual intercourse. 4. Not to kill your children. 5. Not to accuse an innocent person, to spread such an accusation among people. 6. Not to be disobedient, when ordered, to do good deed." The Prophet added, "Whoever among you fulfills his pledge will be rewarded by Allah. And whoever indulges in any one of them, except the ascription of partners to Allah, and gets the punishment in this world, that punishment will be an expiation for that sin. And if one indulges in any of them, and Allah conceals his sin, it is up to him to forgive or punish him in the hereafter." Ubadah bin as-Samit added, "So we swore allegiance for these points to Allah's apostle." Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's messenger said, "A time will soon come when the best property of a Muslim will be sheep which he will take on the top of mountains and the places of rainfall, valleys, so as to flee with his religion from afflictions." Narrated Aisha, whenever Allah's messenger ordered the Muslims to do something, he used to order them deeds which were easy for them to do, according to their strength and endurance. They said, "O Allah's messenger, we are not like you. Allah has forgiven your past and future sins." So Allah's apostle became angry and it was apparent on his face. He said, "I am the most Allah-fearing, and know Allah better than all of you do." Narrated Anas, the Prophet said, "Whoever possesses the following 3 qualities will taste the sweetness of faith. 1. The one to whom Allah and his apostle become dearer than anything else. 2. Who loves a person and he loves him only for Allah's sake. 3. Who hates to revert to disbelief, atheism, after Allah has saved him out from it, as he hates to be thrown in fire." Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet said, "When the people of paradise will enter paradise and the people of hell will go to hell, Allah will order those who have had faith equal to the weight of a grain of mustard seed to be taken out from hell. So they will be taken out, but by then, they will be blackened, charred. Then they will be put in the river of Haya, rain, or Hayat, life." The narrator is in doubt as to which is the right term, and they will revive like a grain that grows near the bank of a flood channel. Don't you see that it comes out yellow and twisted? Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's messenger said, "While I was sleeping I saw, in a dream, some people wearing shirts of which some were reaching up to the breasts only while others were even shorter than that. Umar bin al-Khattab was shown wearing a shirt that he was dragging. The people asked, 'How did you interpret it? What is its interpretation, O Allah's messenger?' He, the Prophet, replied, 'It is the religion.'" Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, once Allah's messenger passed by an Ansari man who was admonishing his brother regarding Haya. On that Allah's messenger said, "Leave him, as Haya is a part of faith." See Hadith 9. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's messenger said, "I have been ordered, by Allah, to fight against the people until they testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and that Muhammad is Allah's messenger, and offer the prayers perfectly and give the obligatory charity, so if they perform that, then they save their lives and property from me except for Islamic laws, and then their reckoning, accounts, will be done by Allah." Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's messenger, was asked, "What is the best deed?" He replied, "To believe in Allah and His Apostle, Muhammad." The questioner then asked, "What is the next, in goodness?" He replied, "To participate in jihad, religious fighting, in Allah's cause." The questioner again asked, "What is the next, in goodness?" He replied, "To perform Hajj, pilgrimage to Mecca, Mubur, which is accepted by Allah and is performed with the intention of seeking Allah's pleasure only and not to show off and without committing a sin and in accordance with the traditions of the Prophet." Narrated Sa'd. Allah's messenger distributed zakat amongst a group of people while I was sitting there, but Allah's messenger left the man whom I thought the best of the lot. I asked, "O Allah's messenger, why have you left that person?" "By Allah, I regard him as a faithful believer." The Prophet commented, "Or merely a Muslim." I remained quiet for a while, but could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. And then asked Allah's messenger, "Why have you left so and so?" "By Allah, he is a faithful believer." The Prophet again said, "Or merely a Muslim." And I could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. Then the Prophet said, "O Sa'd, I give to a person while another is dearer to me, for fear that he might be thrown on his face in the fire by Allah." Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. A person asked Allah's messenger, "What sort of deeds in or what qualities of Islam are good?" He replied, "To feed the poor and greet those whom you know and those whom you don't know." Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "I was shown the hellfire and that the majority of its dwellers were women who were ungrateful." It was asked, "Do they disbelieve in Allah? Or are they ungrateful to Allah?" He replied, "They are ungrateful to their husbands and are ungrateful for the favors and the good, charitable deeds done to them. If you have always been good, benevolent, to one of them and then she sees something in you, not of her liking, she will say, 'I have never received any good from you.'" Narrated Al-Marar. At Arabada I met Abu Dhar, who was wearing a cloak, and his slave, too, was wearing a similar one. I asked about the reason for it. He replied, "I abused a person by calling his mother with bad names." The Prophet said to me, "O Abu Dhar, did you abuse him by calling his mother with bad names? You still have some characteristics of ignorance. Your slaves are your brothers and Allah has put them under your command. So whoever has a brother under his command should feed him of what he eats and dress him of what he wears. Do not ask them, slaves, to do things beyond their capacity, power, and if you do so, then help them." Narrated Al-Anaf bin Qais. While I was going to help this man, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abu Bakr met me and asked, "Where are you going?" I replied, "I am going to help that person." He said, "Go back, for I have heard Allah's messenger saying, when two Muslims meet each other with their swords, both the murderer as well as the murdered will go to the hellfire." I said, "O Allah's messenger, it is all right for the murderer, but what about the murdered one?" Allah's messenger replied, "He surely had the intention to kill his companion." Narrated Abdullah. When the following verse was revealed, it is those who believe and confuse not their belief with wrong, worshipping others besides Allah. 6 hours 83 minutes, the companions of Allah's messenger asked, "Who is amongst us who had not done injustice, wrong?" Allah revealed, "No doubt, joining others in worship with Allah is a great injustice, wrong, indeed." 31.13. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, The signs of a hypocrite are 3. 1. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. 2. Whenever he promises, he always breaks it, his promise. 3. If you trust him, he proves to be dishonest. If you keep something as a trust with him, he will not return it. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet said, "Whoever has the following 4 characteristics will be a pure hypocrite, and whoever has one of the following 4 characteristics will have one characteristic of hypocrisy unless and until he gives it up." 1. Whenever he is entrusted, he betrays. 2. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. 3. Whenever he makes a covenant, he proves treacherous. 4. Whenever he quarrels, he behaves in a very imprudent, evil, and insulting manner. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, said, "Whoever establishes the prayers on the night of Qadr out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's rewards, not to show off, then all his past sins will be forgiven,